We're in White Fish Eye. Guess what we're doing today? We're gonna stop dragging our ass. That's what I've been doing, dragging my ass. You gonna drag your ass, dogs? You? No. No one's gonna drag your ass. How about you guys? No, we're all gonna go out here to the garage. What are we gonna do? Come on. Let's go. Tino, you don't wanna go? No, Tino's like, look at him. He's like, I'm good. He's not a garage dog. These other little motherfuckings, they're garage dogs. Come on, garage dogs. Let's go. So, I have said for a long time, and I've said it in many videos, that I was going to change the sway bar bushings. And I haven't done it yet because what I was waiting for was trying to decide whether I was going to lower the car. I was going to change my mind again because I changed my mind like I changed my socks. And so I decided I'm not going to do that. Not going to lower the car. I'm going to leave it as is. But the one thing that has been bugging me for a while, occasionally I'll go over something, a bump or a manhole cover or something, and I'll feel a little ta-doom, little thud. And I changed all the bushings on here. I've changed the upper strut mounts. I've changed the shocks on the car. I've even gone as far as getting the front differential, the right side of it was leaking. The front differential seals replaced at the same time as we got the front differential service, oil drain, new plugs, new bolts in the CV axles and in the front differential. And I can tell you, most of the time, 99% of the time, you're riding over stuff, you hit a little bump, you can tell everything is good. But occasionally, you hit something and you're like, it's almost like the subframe on the bottom of the car is loose. I stumbled upon this, what I think the problem is. I was watching FCP Euro, my favorite place to go to for Porsche parts. FCP Euro, they've got DIYs and they also have documentaries and stuff. They were doing a BMW and they showed exactly what I'm talking about on a BMW. Now, that's not to say that that's what's wrong with this, but the noise, the description, what and how they talked about that BMW seemed very, very, very similar. And also that, I think it was the E46 BMW. The E46 M3, I think that's the one they had. The front sway bar, the clamps and bushing, the design of it is exactly the same as this. It is just like this. So I'm thinking it makes sense. It makes sense that maybe that's what's wrong. So here are my new bushings. Pull them out here. And they are slotted, so they do open up. But I can feel that they're a little thicker, or they feel nice and thick and firm. And just holding in my hand, I haven't touched the ones on there, but thinking about all the other bushings that I've already replaced on this car, the tuning fork, the control arms, the lower control arms, the trailing arm, the upper arms, everything I've replaced on this car, almost, not all of them, but most of the bushings were pretty worn. As they would say across the pond, they were perished. So it makes sense that the bushings in the front would be perished as well. So it's only 2 bolts to hold them in. It's 2 bolts and a clamp that goes over it like that. So I've got to get the car in the air, take the wheels off, disconnect the sway bar drop down links, which I have replaced, and then I should be able to get to it. So let me get the car. I'm not going to bore you with the process of using the quick jack. Let me just do it and I'll show you the quick jacks. I'll show you once it's in the air, once I have the under tray taken off, and we'll go from there. All right. All right, so we got the wheel off, sitting there. And I'm gonna show you real quick let me switch the camera around and so I can zoom in and you can see exactly the two bolts that we need to get to and where that bushing is. So you can see for reference, they are mounted. It looks like they are mounted like this. So this is to the top, the round to the bottom. Let me flip the camera around and I'll show you exactly what we're talking about. All right, this is the zoomed in mode. These are the bolts I'm talking about, if I can get it without locking it. So these two right here. See, they have nuts on them? I did not know that. I thought they did not have nuts. I thought they were like the other hardware in the subframe where it was just screwed in. But they have nuts on them. But that's no big deal. So we just got to take this plastic tray from the bottom. Let's take a look under the car. So you can take this whole plastic tray out. Let me put it in a wide angle. So the whole plastic tray's got to come off, but that's real easy. These little T25s or 27s, I forget what they are. And then you can just pull this down. You can pull it down and out, or you can just let it hang down. I'm going to try to see if I can just let it hang down. And then the two, let's see, where are they? You can see the sway bar right there. See the sway bar right where my finger's pointing at it. So there's a sway bar, and it goes, so the two bolts are right here. So once this is out of the way, we should be able to get right to them. The other part we're going to need to disconnect is the sway bar, the drop down link. It's a pretty long link, but there's the sway bar down here at the bottom. I think you're supposed to probably lift that part up to release the tension, but it's a sway bar, who cares? So I'm not going to do things the right way, I'm going to do it my way. Which is not always the right way. Sometimes it is the right way, but when it is the right way, it's by pure luck. Never intentional. I never intend to do things the right way. I always intend to do things the hard way or the wrong way. So let me disconnect that sway bar link because the only thing I have is that piece of crap floor jack. And I guess I could lower the car back down, but I don't feel like doing that. So we're gonna just disconnect it, hand tools, and take off the under tray, and then we'll turn the camera back on after we get to that point. All right, so this is where we're at. We're under the car. Here's my subframe. This is the normal subframe bolts you use for the, remember when I did the tuning fork? But right behind that are these two bolts. I already did the other side, and they're actually not that hard. But what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna break these two loose using a breaker bar, AKA my torque wrench. And then I'm going to hit them with the air ratchet. I did the first one on that side, I mean with the impact. This subframe is here. I thought I was going to have to lower this, but on that end, I'm able to already move the sway bar up and down a little bit. So since I'm not removing the sway bar, I just want to change the bushings. I think I can do it by, and get away with not lowering the subframe, just unbolting the sway bar bushing bolts and then sliding the sway bar left and right so I can change the bushings and then just put it back in place. So that's what we're going to try to do. But let me break this loose first. Oops, don't slip. That's bad if you slip. Alright, that took forever. Now that I broke the torque loose, let's just get them out. That one. Hot, hot, hot. Let's get the other one. Done. Now let's check the sway bar. There's one nut. I'll grab it. The other one, there it is. All right, sway bar. It's now loose. There we go. That's what we want. So what I did on the other side was this tab here, I just bent it out of the way. So we'll just, let me grab my pry bar and we'll bend that out of the way. That's all we need. And then we can slide the bushings out. I think the metal bracket just pops off the bottom. Or I think we can flip it around. That's fine. There we go. Never mind. Metal bracket off. Just set it right there for now. And then bushing. Oh, I can tell you right now, look, this bushing. Look at all the look at all this play in this bushing. That's not good. So let's pop that off. Opens from this side. All right. All right, let's compare apples to apples. We're going to compare old bushing to new bushing. How are we going to do that? Harbor Freight, cheap, old, crappy caliper. I can tell you, just looking at them, this is the new one, so it's thicker. And you can see this one, the play in it, basically, is doing this. I mean, this is an exaggerated view, but imagine this is the sway bar. This is what it's doing. So, turn this thing on. All right, old bushing. I'm gonna hold the flat part up. I'm gonna squeeze it while we measure it together. Okay, old bushing, flat part up. And what is the inside diameter? What's that say? I can't read it because it's facing the camera. 24 something, 25. Okay, old bushing. Back to 0, right? Okay, new bushing. Flat part facing up. Squeezing it. You guys see I'm not cheating. Say 23. So that's 2 millimeters difference. It's probably more than that because this one this one is soft. I can see the inside of it is pretty worn. This one is much newer. Just to the naked eye, the new one is thicker. And probably when I'm driving down the road, it's doing this, and this is what I'm hearing. I mean, it's not that drastic, but when I hear noises, that's probably what it's doing. So, let's pop in the new one, and then we'll do the other side, and we'll be done. Another thing I want to show you, if you're wondering if I'm going to get this sway bar back in its correct position, well, Porsche and those smart engineers that they are, look what they put. They put a stop there. So you can't install your bushing past that stop. So you install your bushing to that stop, then push your sway bar in and line up the holes. Simple, genius. That's actually that's good. No rust on there. There's a little grip. That's what it's supposed to grab onto.
6.5 hours later.
All right, so we are all done. Took longer than I expected, only because the new bushings came out real easy because they were worn. I had to actually open up the clamp just a little bit to get it over the new bushings because they were thicker. And I looked on the part number of the old bushings. There's actually a part number on the bottom, and it matched what I ordered. So I did order the correct bushings. It's just that little extra few millimeters of thickness made it damn near impossible to get in. Let me show you some tips and tricks that I used. So you see there's space right in front of me. Lower this flat guard. There's a little space there in front of the bracket. So that the best way to get this in after you open up that bracket. The top aluminum arm where you can see the nuts sitting on top flexes real easy. So when you bend that up, it'll bend back down. Just be gentle with it. I used a pry bar. The bottom bracket that's a U is tougher. So what I did was there's more there to not wedge anything against the my tie rod here. What I did was I installed the bolt through the back first, and then I stuck, you can see the little marks on there, I stuck a screwdriver between the bracket, not on the bushing, but between the bracket and the aluminum chassis, and just pushed it a little bit so that I could get the hole to line up to get that bolt. And once the bolt was in and captured just from the tension, it was just easy to get the nut on. Then I left everything loose and I just threaded it on by hand, a couple turns, and then and you can see it's all the way flush now. And then I did the other side, and I used soapy water to help get the bracket on, to help get that on, because soapy water is just going to evaporate and turn into nothing. I don't use a lubricant or anything that's going to break down the rubber. Just use soapy water, or just plain water, or nothing if you're strong enough. I'm not. And then set your car at ride height. I set it at ride height kind of a sketchy way. At a little trial and error, I figured out what height to put the floor jacks under the control arms and lower the quick jacks until the weight is off the quick jack and the wheel is at the ride height. It is not the best way to do it, but it's a way to do it. I could have used my floor jack, but you guys know my floor jack is sketchy. So I wanted to try something different. Actually, this took a couple of tries of trial and error, and if it didn't work, I was definitely going to use the floor jack. But also, for an added measure of safety, the quick jacks are in the locks, so there's no worry that they're gonna like fall down on me. They are locked in place. So that's what took me a couple of times of trial and error. So once I had that at the correct ride height, I ran these down with the impact almost till they were flush, and then I stopped and I used the rest of the way just using hand tools, torque wrench, and 15mm wrench on top and my torque wrench on the bottom with the long extension, and torqued them 17 foot-pounds. It what it calls for. It seems kind of light, but I looked it up numerous times and it says 17 foot-pounds, and comparing to what they looked like when I took them off, that's exactly how they looked. And they came off actually real easy. It was not on there very tight. So just as added measure, I checked all my other hardware, everything else was good. The only time you need to lower your subframe assembly is if you're going to actually change your sway bar. If you're just going to change the bushings, you don't have to. So you can do the bushings with the sway bar in the car. What else did we retorque? We also, while I had it at ride height, I don't think this is really important, but we torqued the drop down links. So the drop down links are torqued. So now let's get this thing back in the air and get the wheels back on it, and then we got to get underneath and put the splash guard. Also, one thing I did not record, what took me so long, was that rear nut that's on there. Well, it came off and I could not find the damn thing anywhere. I removed the splash guard completely. See, it's over there. We looked everywhere. Let me show you. I'm gonna show you exactly where it was in case this happens to you. You know where the damn thing was? You're not gonna believe this. It was back there behind that bushing, just in the crevice. See if I can put my hand on it without dropping the light. Let's see. I need 3 hands. It was, see my fingers? Behind this, right in the crevice on the back side where you can't put your finger and you can't reach it and nothing to touch. I barely got a fingernail on it, and after I got a fingernail on it, I used my magnet and got it out. That's how I got it, and it took me hours. That's why it's dark outside, because this took me hours just to find that one damn nut. And I was losing my mind. Like, I thought the earth had swallowed it up. I even took off the dust cover on the fuel tank, thought maybe it jumped into there. Nope. So I wasted a lot of time trying to figure that out. So let me get this car back all the way up in the air, get the dust shield, the splash guard back underneath. There's your sway bar bushing up top. There's a crazy psychopath. She's attacking me. Psychopath attacking me. All right, there's your front differential. Other than that, everything looks good under here. No broken boots, no grease, no oil, nice and clean.
20 minutes later.
So there you go, all done, back on the ground. Not the hardest DIY, but also not quite the easiest DIY. But you can do it with hand tools. I didn't use any special tools other than a torque wrench. I used impact just because it was easier, but you don't even need that. Basic hand tools. You can do this job yourself. if you take it to an independent place or you take it to a Porsche dealer, they're going to charge you more because of the labor. It's not super hard, but it can be tedious, like when I lost a damn nut for hours and had to search for it. Now the true test is when I go drive it to see, do I still have a little bit of knock? Because I didn't have a lot, but I had a little bit, and I could feel with the old bushings with my hands, I could move it back and forth, and it was just like, and you can hear it just going, you know. And I can't deal with the new bushings because there's just so much more meat on them. They're so thick. Now, I did my best, and I mean all the weight was off the front of the quick jacks. It was just on the jack tower. So in theory, my suspension was at ride height. And looking at it now where the center axle is, comparing the center axle to the fender, it looks like it was at ride height. I tightened all my hardware at ride height. So let me get the quick jacks out of here, let me clean up, and we'll do a drive. Actually, we're not going to do it tonight. We'll do it tomorrow morning when we go to Cars and Coffee. All right, stay tuned for that part of it. It's coming next.
The next day.
Good morning, good morning. Damn, I parked a little close to the wall today. Yeesh. That is 1 CH from the wall. If you know what a CH is, then you know. I'm not going to tell you. So I got Leo and his son here with me. We're going to do a road test on the way to Cars and Coffee. We're actually super late, but it's... All right, so just coming out of the driveway, the little lip between the driveway and the road, I didn't have the usual little thud or the thump. Actually, it's not even a thud. It's barely a thump, but I didn't have that. So that's already a slight improvement. All right, I can tell you it is definitely improved. I just went over a bunch of bumps, manhole covers, very twisty section of freeway that says slow down, 40-mile-an-hour curves. Of course, we do them a little bit faster, and just 5 over, just 5 over. I love this car. And actually, it is a noticeable improvement. So the little bit of clunking and noise I was hearing, fixed. I would say this was a success as far as those bushings go. It is definitely a noticeable improvement, and the car is riding better. And one thing I didn't think about, on the freeway, it's also going straighter. It's the steering is straighter. It's not normally, if the road is a little uneven, the car would sway back and forth. Well, it wouldn't sway back and forth, but it would move. The steering would move very easily. It's not moving at all. It is perfectly smooth, no left to right pull, which is awesome. That means the only thing I probably need to do now is just go get an alignment check again real quick, and probably just tweak my alignment just a hair, and it would be good. But I am happy with the success. It was supposed to be a 2-hour job. It ended up being a lot longer because I lost parts. Oh, I just got hit by a laser. I am. Oh, laser. Yep, there he is. Oh, I'm screwed. I seen him. He's on top of the hill. He's a motorcycle cop with a laser in his hand. I wonder if he's going to come after me. Nope, he's still there. Damn. Damn, I got hit with a laser beam. There's nothing I can do about that. Wow. I'm glad I wasn't doing 90. Stayed there though. Yikes. That's good. Not good. Don't need a ticket. Alright. Well, back to the bushings. The bushing's good to go. So we're done. Thanks for watching. Now let's go to Cars and Coffee.